talking to you about CVs. We get hundreds of applications every day, and I wanted to help you with how to do your CV. The first and most important thing to do is to get the content right. I'm going to take you each step of the way, starting with your personal details. Make sure you have an address. This might sound a bit basic to you, but we definitely need your address. Obviously you have your name, your contact phone number, your email address, but your address is something that gets missed out an awful lot. So we definitely need an address because you'll get preferential treatment for those that live closer to the job. If you can relocate, then put this down too. Otherwise, you're just going to get an email or a phone call from a recruiter saying, where do you live? If you can drive, then put this in too. If you're a creative, then we definitely need a copy of your portfolio. Some people send it as a PDF, but we prefer to get it as a link, as that's what most people do nowadays. There's great websites now, Behance, Carbon Made, Cargo Collective. So they're the basics, and I definitely recommend putting them in. It still doesn't happen nowadays, and it saves a lot of going backwards and forwards. A profile is still really useful to have. It gives a hint of character, but also sets up your stall. Don't put generic things in there like you can work well in a team or you're ambitious. These things are taken for granted anyway nowadays. Try and use something where you can be a little bit more individual.
You gotta find a way to stand out. Trust me, I know.
Use this to define who you are, and also use it to say what it is you want. After your personal details, the first place a recruiter will go to is your work experience. Put yourself in the client's shoes. They'll be paying for a recruiter to find them people that fit the brief. So the first thing that they want to know is, what are you doing at the moment?
What makes you think you're qualified for this job?
So if we've got an account management role for a full service agency based in Leeds that specialises in retail, and the first thing that they are going to prioritise for is an account manager that works for another agency, lives in Leeds, and has preferably got retail experience. Put your job title, your location and the dates. It's much better to put your skills in your work experience than later on in a different section. In the next paragraph, put what the actual company does that you worked for. There's so many companies out there that people might not know what your current company does. So a little bit on their specialisation.
Well, GE is digital and industrial.
They're a retail specialist, they're a branding company. What industry sector do they work in? What specialities do they have? What products do they sell? Bullet points for different parts of the job, teams you worked with, duties you performed, what targets you had, what skills you used. Numbers are really impressive, and remember, content is king. Use keywords for SEO too. But most importantly, put your skills on this part, because we prefer it where it shows that you've used skills in an actual job rather than a bullet point list at the end of the CV. If you've got a mixed background of experience, then try and push those that are less relevant towards the bottom. If you're a graduate, or maybe haven't worked for a while, or even changing careers, then there's another way that you can get around it too. You become a freelancer. Work voluntarily. No harm in creating your own freelance experience, your own self-employment. If you need help with this, speak to a recruiter. We have lots of experience of helping people in this. The further away from graduating, the less important it is. So this goes further down your CV. If you're a recent graduate, then this actually is a vital part of your CV. So make this as big as possible.
It's not about talking in a smart way. It's about thinking in a smart way.
Don't just mention the university and what grades you got. Talk about sectors you've worked on. Talk about blocks. If you did an internship, that can actually go into relevant work experience too. Don't forget experience trumps education. If you want to list your technical skills again in a little section, this is a good place to put it. After your education and after your work experience. We totally recommend putting skills in your relevant work experience rather than just putting bullet points at the end of your CV. A lot of candidates do this, unfortunately. They can list everything that they might have touched on. What we're really looking for is concrete evidence of skills that you've used in a commercial way. It's still vital to put a hobbies and interests section. These bits will show your personality. Your hobbies and interests can actually be a great reference point for interviews. It gives you a chance to get chemistry with your client. You can put things like your favourite club, walking the dog, socialising, reading. You'll be surprised what comes up in interview and how a bit of chemistry, a bit of rapport, a bit of common ground can actually go a long way. Check for grammar and spelling. So many people lose the chance to gain an interview because of spelling and grammar, so check this again and again, and maybe get somebody else to check it for you too. An eye for detail is really important, especially if you're artworking, designing, copywriting, things that require this. Once this is done, you can get ready for the layout. The creative industry has no boundaries when it comes to writing a CV, so you don't need to fix to 2 pages, you can go to town on the creativity. Most of the time we can tell if the candidate is of a certain level just by looking at their CV. Keep it clean and use lots of white space with good typography. Well spread out, like a publication. A single page can be as effective as 3. If you give your CV a bit of extra something that helps you stand out, then this would be good too. But don't go over the top. Keep it clean, keep it direct and focused, make it professional and commercial. If you're a creative, then this will show what you can do when it comes to design briefs too.
Without a goal, you can't score.
Some job sites only accept Word versions of your CV, but we'd also recommend you having a PDF version. Don't forget, try to make links work, emails work. It all makes the process much easier. Finally, make sure LinkedIn's on there too. Seems to be the way to go now. I hope this has been of use to you. Get in touch if you need some more help.